What's up, everybody? Joe Ringen here, coming to you again with a book review today. And today's today's a fun one, I guess. I'm reviewing the movie novelization of The Scorpion King. So if you've seen any of my past videos, you'll know that I've have kind of a quest, self-induced quest for some reason to find the best movie novelizations out there. Why? I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. For me, I think I don't know. It's an uphill battle. It's a challenge, and I like challenges, I suppose. So I at Half Price Books the other day, and this popped out, The Scorpion King, and so I had to pick it up. It was like $2, and you can't lose for a $2 book, right? So as you can see, it's a very small, short book. Didn't take long to read. Took about the same amount of time as it takes to watch the movie, to be honest. So, yeah. So I'm going to talk about the movie novelization of The Scorpion King for you guys. But before I do that, I just want to let you know, besides reading books, I also wrote a book. It's called The Ballad of Ages, Tale of Epic Fantasy. It's a fun read in the vein of sort of like 80s fantasy type stuff. Read it. It's on Amazon. And then read The Scorpion King. Actually, don't. That's not what you should get out of this video. And I'll tell you why, for a few reasons. To start, though, The Scorpion King, if you haven't seen it, I 100% recommend watching the movie. It's a great movie. It came out when I was, oh gosh, I don't know, probably like 10, or not 10, probably like 12, 13, I don't know. And it's a perfect movie for someone that age. Like, you get The Rock, right? He's the main character. Matthias, The Rock from WWE. And you got some, like, I don't know, some good looking lady in like a desert bikini, like, as you can see on the cover of the book, right? Like, this movie / book was made for 12-year-olds. And it serves its purpose. Still entertaining movie today. I mean, if you like sword and sorcery, like fantasy movies, it's a good movie. It really is. Super entertaining. Unfortunately, it doesn't translate well into a book, honestly. Like, what makes the movie great are the actors, the scenes, the action, scenery, the effects. Like, it's cool, like, seeing The Rock just beating the crap out of everybody, kicking butt, and it's a fun movie, and you don't see that in the book. You read it, and it's not as entertaining. So, I mean, honestly, like, I'm not gonna harp on the author, Max Allan Collins. And actually, you know, the one good thing about reading this book that I'm glad I did is it introduced me to Max Allan Collins as an author. He's a good writer. I really liked his writing. And I kind of looked him up a little bit. Turns out he wrote some other novelizations. Interestingly enough, he wrote the novelization of like The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, which are in the same universe as Scorpion King. I haven't read those. Maybe I will. I don't know. But he writes like a lot of sort of mystery or crime thriller type books. I haven't read them. I probably won't because that's not really my jam, like those kind of books. But you could see from reading The Scorpion King how his writing style would work very well in those kind of books. He's a very sort of like fast-paced, page-turner kind of good dialogue, good author in that sense. And what made it work well in this book, The Scorpion King, is like The Scorpion King, especially the movie, at times it can be very serious, but at times it also has kind of like a goofy tone. Like, it's kind of like a funny, whimsical, witty book or movie. And he can tie those two together and present the story while seamlessly switching between those tones. That's not an easy thing to do, but he did it very well. And I'm like I said, I'm glad I was introduced to Max Allan Collins as an author. I didn't know who he was, but I think he's the one saving grace of this book. Uh, Otherwise, it's just kind of I don't know, kind of not good. Um, and the funny thing is, what makes this book not good is the story, which is kind of ironic, I guess. Um, like it's very apparent when reading the book how just like like shallow or like not layered the story is. It's a very just basic story, like good guy versus bad guy. Good guy gets the girl. Like it's it's sword and sorcery, but just like the bare minimum sword and sorcery. So it's yeah, very lacking. And I like to have depth in the stories I read, but and it's true like a lot of the classic stories that are regarded as masterpieces have very simple stories, simple plots, like the Odyssey, right? Okay, the guy Odysseus, he went off to war. He's trying to return home. That's a pretty simple story. But what's different, um, well, maybe the Odyssey is just a different beast altogether. But in a lot of stories like that, what makes them great is the characterization or the character work. Yeah, that doesn't exist in Scorpion King. Like you don't really you don't become invested in the characters. You don't care. They're just kind of there. And so like in the movie, it's different because you care about the actors and and you get the visuals, you get the action and all that stuff. You don't get that through the book. So this story works good through the visual medium and not so much on page. That's my takeaway from this. Um, so watch the movie, skip the book. I gave it a 7 out of 10. If it weren't for the author Max Allan Collins, it would have been like a 4 out of 10. It's just it's just meh. Not the worst novelization I've read. Definitely not the best. But another cool thing I'll just throw out there is I do appreciate Max Allan Collins. How you could tell he's a good writer and he's knowledgeable about literature and he took a professional approach to this writing this, which I appreciate and that actually came through. You can tell at the beginning he gave a quote or he put a quote from Edgar Rice Burroughs. So if you know who that is, he's an author. Um, he wrote like John Carter Mars, like kind of the early sword and sorcery stuff. Well, I guess that's not sword and sorcery, but kind of leads up to it. Um, and and at the end, he has a little outro or chapter at the end where he talks about sort of writing this book and how when he wrote the Mummy novelizations, he drew from like um, sort of the classic horror authors and then Edgar Allan Poe kind of stuff because the Mummy was more of a horror. But for Scorpion King, he just went straight for like stuff like Conan, Hercules, and sort of tried to weave it into that vein. And so like he took a professional approach, and he's obviously a smart guy. Like I said, he's a very good writer. He was just kind of handed a dud. um, or and to be fair, even to the screenwriters, they did a great job making a movie, but you know, Universal, I think it's Universal is the yeah, Universal Pictures is probably like, hey, let's try to make a lot more money and someone write a book out of this and whatever. um, it's kind of a money grab, but like I said, for getting it used for $2, you can't lose. At the very least, it made me watch the movie again, so that's a win. It's a great movie, honestly. I might watch all the weird sequels, and I don't think they're going to be very good, but you never know. The point of this channel is to discover things that you think are bad or don't know exist and actually surprise you instead of just reading what is popular at the time. That's all I have for you today. The Scorpion King. Watch the movie. It's a cool time capsule of culture in the early 2000s. I don't know. If you can get the book for cheap, read it. Again, it's a quick read. You could, like, if you got nothing to do at the airport or something, read the book. It will take you 2 hours. Otherwise, hey, you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk next time.